What does Daddy watch every morning?
Econene.
What is econene?
News about Kenya.
Oh, Daddy watches it every day?
Econene. So jana jioni kuna vile Rigathi Gachagua aliamua kubongana the Luo Nation, and one of the trending clips was a very interesting clip because I don't know how to feel about it. I felt like it was sad to see, and I also felt like it was avoidable. And clip yenyewe ilikuwa ni kama like by the time unamaliza interview, we'll dig into the interview, but nataka tuanze from this point ndio ujue like how ugly that interview must have been, ama that session must have been. So by the time unamalizia, kuna vile Trevor anaambia Rigathi Gachagua, former DP, nabaki ampatiana his closing remarks. Wacha tusikie.
But even then,
have you been told what happened?
Let's have your final comments because we ran out of time here. Just a minute.
Well, Trevor, you have been very biased in this show, which is very unprofessional. Because anyway, let me not go into that. Let me say my.
Let me not go into that. And it was sad to see, and it was sad to see why. Because Gachagua amekuwa na very many good interviews, but in the process I feel like as much as he's a very good orator, unajua ukiwa mbele ya crowd, a political crowd, and ukiwa mbele ya mtu anakuuliza maswali, it's very different, and I don't feel like he was media prepared. By media prepared I mean, what if he's pushed to the edge, ile edge ya someone insists on a question mpaka unaweza kuwa angry. What's supposed to happen? That's number one. Number two, kuna kitu ingine ile lazima pia Gachagua understand that now you're talking to an audience that will not naturally believe everything that you say. So specifically, kuna vile Gachagua, like the first thing that he did was he did ile the Kalenjin stations, and this one I guess now was time for the Luo Nation. And the fact that they'll not believe everything that you say, you need to be more media prepared than ukienda pali everyone will be happy with everything that you're saying. So I feel like that was the problem. But nataka to go into some of the things that happened, and try to imagine you are on Ramogi FM and Ramogi TV, alafu unaulizwa juu ya Raila. What's going to happen? Wacha before to bongeje hizo specifics. Wacha one of the things ile nichekesha ni ile kijaka wagapo. Nakuga Ramogi TV vile ilikuwa was it what like launched, kulikuwa na ile twak makende, alafu tuko tuna joke juu yake. Now saa hizi ilikuwa sasa the same channel ilikuwa na hiyo story ya twak. Yes, twak. Alafu bado apart from twerk ilikuwa na nini tena? Ilikuwa na achiel kachiel ni moja kwa moja, inamaanisha live. So I found that to be nini iko imekuwa hapo kwa screen, and but now wacha to go into this. Let's see some of the questions ziliulizwa and how I feel maybe he could have handled it differently. And one of the things aliulizwa ni the celebration of the death of Raila. I don't know how when this happened, but kasi ili happened, maybe hata nili-comment juu yake, but I forgot about it. But of course Trevor, yuko na a team of researchers, so alimuuliza.
In one of these interviews with the local radio station, and I'm quoting what you said that Ruto alikuwa anajiringa na Raila, sasa Mungu ni nani? Why are you celebrating the death of the former prime minister?
I'm not celebrating, that is your own interpretation. You can't.
Hapo why are you celebrating? I think why did you celebrate? I think there's a difference. Why you celebrating would mean that even till now, that he's not changed his mind. If he was happy at that moment, he's not changed his mind during all this period. So I feel like hapo pia, I don't fully agree with Trevor's like framing of the question, and I understand why Gachagua would be like angry with that.
What was your interpretation?
You cannot.
That's
put,
what you said.
You cannot put words.
Did you not say what I said?
You cannot put words in my mouth.
Muktadha wa hiyo matamshi ilikuwa nini? Labda.
You cannot put words in my mouth.
I'm quoting you verbatim.
I said life. I said life.
Na Mungu ni nani?
What I meant is that life is dynamic. What is happening yesterday is not what is happening today, and it's not what is happening tomorrow. It has nothing to do with celebrating. It's simply capturing the dynamism of life. That what was yesterday is not what is today. What is today is not what is tomorrow.
Which makes sense. Is it something that a national politician should do or say? No. And that goes back to ile story ngonasema ya media training, where you have to be this other person. I think kwetu hata tukiwatchigi Hollywood unanotisige kuna kugana that level of media training ile before mtu ende nje na boy ukiulizwa hii sema hivi, ukiulizwa hivi sema hivi. So and that I think ndio mistake in happen. Gachagua will criticize Ruto for doing everything, and I feel like he come to media, he does everything. Like there's no one to tell him this and this, and I feel like in the crowd, ukiwapo mbele ya crowd like in a market, that's allowed. But when you are mbele ya msee hivi na unajua ni mseta ku grill, you need just some level of how to wiggle out of those questions and to answer them, but not answer them satisfactorily. Yes. Okay, hiyo jina ni ngumu, but tuendelee.
Life is not static, life is dynamic. It keeps on moving on.
Mbona kwa ule uchaguzi uliopita ilikuwa sawa wewe kufanya kazi na Rais Ruto, na wakati jamii hii ya Wajaluo kitaka
okay. Mse mwingine pia nilikuwa na feel kama kiasi jo alikuwa anakuwa ignored jo na Gachagua. Gachagua alikuwa na concentrate na questions za walikuwa na Trevor, but still kuna question moja ile Gachagua aliulizwa, and it's a question that I'll also ask, and this also goes back to what I was saying, media training. I feel like there's a way that he could have answered this so that it's never asked before, because the way that he answered it now inafanya mseka mimi kuzimu hope siku moja naweza kaa chini na Gachagua nataka sana kumuuliza jo hii swali, but will he give me the same answer where I ask him about this and then he takes like a very sharp left and unajua leaves me hanging and I don't know, that question has not been answered. Wacha tusikize.
Out of time here, but there's a question here from one Eriko Kach from Kisumu. This says the families say it's a rather insensitive question, but we'll just ask it because the people have asked. Can you respond to Ruto about the murder of girls after impregnating them? Eriko Kach from Kisumu.
I cannot respond to nonsense, pettiness and gossip. President has sunk too low, he has become a gossiper. Instead of addressing real issues affecting this country has a debt of 14 trillion. He is not bothered. We are facing a crisis on fuel shortage. He is not addressing it. He is on top of a vehicle saying that somebody's cow has died because of a tick.
Kumbuka niki analyze hiyo story jana. Ng'ombe ilikufa juu ya kupe. Umechiki vile haja answer your question. Like yes, we know it's bullshit because it makes no sense that this girl got pregnant and got hit by a car akiwa kwa boda and somehow Rigathi Gachagua was involved. Like the sequence of events looks too planned, najua, because just because watu wamegongwa kwa ndudhi haimaanishi mtu atadedi, mtu anaweza survive. So I feel like ingekuwa very inefficient way ya kutry kumtake out. Hii rumor ilianzishwa na Moses Kuria, so the media team should know a way of how to still answer the question as much as it's bullshit, still answer it, but do not take like below cheki let's talk about that, let's talk about, it's like you're avoiding the question while you should deal with it once and for all so that no one in the future wants to ask the same question. Because me saizi nikikana Gachagua I feel like I would piss him off. Why? Because I'd still ask the freaking question. Tell me why these people so convinced that ulidedishana. The story of course looks Moses Kuria ndiye alianzisha hii. Kwa nini Moses Kuria? Kwa nini? Why does he hate your guts? Kwa tukaa sisi tunamchukua, maybe he wanted to be the de facto leader from the mountain and he thought he was going to be that guy, but that didn't happen. And he looks at this newbie who's shown up and everyone knows about him. Because saizi a lot of people know about Rigiji. Kuna wase hawajui juu ya Moses Kuria, especially I think the Gen Zs wampata kama Moses Kuria like a shafed, unajua they don't know about him. So I felt like hii swali angeansa, but wacha tuchiki vile alihepa.
Because of a tick. What kind of pettiness is that? Hata ng'ombe ya mtu ikikufa na wewe ni president unaongea hiyo ni maneno ya ujinga na fitina ambayo haina haja.
He's dedicating 1% of his time to respond to you.
No.
You're the one who started this
but the kind of things he's talking do not warrant my response. They are too petty and too childish.
Macheki, they are too petty and too childish. But you brought up his weight, which is also too petty and too childish. So I feel like this is one of those things where you need to sit down with a bunch of people and they coach you on how to answer it satisfactorily, whatever hiyo jina lakini I mean a satisfactory manner. Yes, so I feel like that was not a good answer. And then kulikuwa na exchange fulani where I felt like it started getting a little bit ugly, and I didn't know, man. I also felt like Nani pia akimuuliza maswali nilikuwa na feel ni kama alikuwa a little bit too harsh on him, and alikuwa na this very confrontational tone that I didn't like. And the confrontational tone ni kitu nishaichekigata na msaito wa Mehdi Hassan, where sometimes when you're asking questions as a journalist, I don't know if it's taught in journalism school. Of course, mini raya podcasting, so si ulizaga maswali kaa tumeka miguu hivi. It's different from vile mko serious kabisa. But I felt like anaitwa Trevor alikuwa very confrontational. And wacha tusikie part of the exchange, because this is where I felt like it was starting to get ugly.
Why should the people believe a choir master or a chorus master who changes tune?
It's up to the people to believe.
It's like, they're asking you.
If they I don't know. They will listen to me. They will listen to me and decide.
You painted the Luo nation as a nation that is chaotic, violent.
I didn't.
In fact,
William Ruto did. It's not me.
It is not me. I'm quoting you. You said at some point that a community has been castigated as people cause violence every single time.
I've told
that
you.
That was you.
I've told you
directly.
I've given you a very good explanation.
Community.
I've given you a very good explanation that I was a part of a choir, and our choir master was William Ruto, and our work was to repeat the chorus from the choir master, who was also the composer.
At what point will you take responsibility for your own utterances?
I am saying
because now you're saying that he's the one who told you to say it.
No, I'm saying, Trevor, we were in politics. And
are you still in politics now?
Yeah, we're in politics.
So why should they believe you?
I am saying.
Antikivile inaanza kuget ina border on confrontation, ina border on BBC Hard Talk, ina border on Mehdi Hassan, and I always find sometimes your tone ya Mehdi Hassan to be a little bit too harsh. Like, you can still ask this in a better way. So I don't know, but this one was meant for the Luo audience, so I think nani alikuwa nataka Malojaka na Ojo feel like yes he put him on the corner, and he so was this question right to ask? Yes, it was right to ask. Do I also feel some type of way with the way it was asked? Yes. Do I understand also why it was asked that way? Yes. So it's a very tricky balance, but it's also a tricky balance because, as I keep saying, if Gachagua alikuwa na some form of media training, which you can still get, does not matter how long you've done something, you can still get the media training. Akikuwa nayo, I feel like angeansa better. If you want to look at media training, kumbuka after the Gen Z protests, Ruto shatokea kama jam kabisa akaita watu criminals. Then wakumbuka baadaye mse fulani aliandika some speech kwa internet, then Ruto nikaa kaisoma, wakachange to a few lines, then akakuja Ruto akakama akasema the same thing, nacheki, and you could feel it some form of media training. When Ruto talks about Niko Kadi, that's hiyo tu unapata like he's being briefed, this is what they're saying, this is so I feel hapa Gachagua angekuwa na hiyo angeweza kuihandle better.
We were having a contest between Raila Odinga and his people, and that was the politics of the day. I am not in politics with Raila Odinga. There is no presidential candidate from the Luo nation who is facing me, so there is no conflict. That was a contest. People are looking for positions, and there is a conflict as it goes on in politics. So they will be trading here and there. Why William Ruto now is abusing me? He was abusing Raila Odinga then because he was his competitor. Today, his most strongest competitor is Rigathi Gachagua.
Damn, you nataka kujua what the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka feel, because it's actually a factual statement. So it's a factual statement, but it's also not factual due to the fact that Gachagua cannot stand. As things stand right now, Gachagua vile apia mwenye na stand impeached means he can never hold any public office. So yes, he's the strongest competitor, but strongest competitor in terms of if he was to mobilize enough voters, he can be able to give William Samoei a very big problem.
And so he has just changed tact. The way he was abusing Raila Odinga is the way he's abusing Rigathi Gachagua, because I'm his competitor.
Do you regret this abusive language that you and your former boss have treated the nation to?
I have not abused anybody myself.
You started this
I
conversation.
did not start.
Did you describe the president as having
I
lost
made that
weight?
description. That description is true.
That is considered body shaming.
There is no apology to make. I described the way he looks.
Damn, there is one to make. I feel like when you start talking about using terms like body shaming when talking about the president, you're being full of shit. The same with the president. When the president talked about that, vile alita Matiang'i fat, and he said, wengine wanasema nimeanzisha body shaming. I was there like, you're the president of a third world country, man. Like, body shaming should be the least of your concerns. If people call you fat, if people call you thin, should mean nothing. You have literally bigger fish to fry. That's tunaongea juu ya chakula. But yes, you literally have bigger fish to fry. So you should not worry about what people feel about your weight. And
I did.
Chapter 6 of the Constitution and Integrity, Article 73.3, says that state officers should behave in a manner that bestows respect and dignity.
I'm not a state officer.
You've been the second in
I
command.
am not
in
a
this
state
country.
officer. I'm not a state officer.
So are you now allowed then to
I am not a
just
state
abuse
officer.
your other fellows just because you're not a
I am
current
not a state officer.
You've been the second in command. Do you regret the statements
I have
you
no
made?
regret whatsoever for my utterances. I made a true description that our other Kenyans have made. I'll continue speaking truthfully. You know, people say when people who steal, what are they called? They are thieves. People who do this and that, they must be described for who they are.
so nachiki hapa place ya Gachagua, hata tuki walk away from story yake na Trevor and the way this whole Nini was going, you'd have to look at that. Like, if you're ready to call Ruto a thief, he can fight back and call you a thief, which he's doing. If you can call him a murderer, juu story ya Kiambaa, he can then call you a murderer, juu story ya Maureen. So now it becomes that you'll say you're not a state officer, number one. Then number two, tabaki umesema you're planning to run for the biggest office because you've not exhausted all your inaitwa nini zile appeals ikikam to the impeachment. So it becomes, I think I don't know how to, but inaka ni double talk ama. Like, you have to stick to one side and be like, I'll speak like I'm not a state officer and I'll never run for political office and I'll never Nini. So with that, you can say anything. But if you're planning to run for political office, then maybe you should hold back a little.
And if anybody has a problem, you can take me to court.
Do you believe that statement is demeaning?
Alafu hiyo part ya if anybody has a problem, you can take me to court also comes back to ile kitu pia niko nasema juu ya Ruto na Gachagua. That Ruto ameita Gachagua a murderer for very many times akiwa kwa rallies. Msalidedisha ule dem akabaki amemseti walimdedisha na yeye mwenyewe hajamsuu for defamation. So it shows you how it's tricky. Like, these politicians have allowed each other to insult each other in such ways and they can never take each other to court. So Ruto ataenjoyiwa ama atatukanwa juu ya kuiba, tutamwitaga rap mashamba, alafu pia atukanwe juu ya kumurder. Hizo stories are, of course, tukiangalia the Gen Z protests, na apart from hiyo the Gen Z protests, tuangalie like stories za Kiambaa back in 2007. So he's accused of all that and he can never go to court. So it's a very muddy, is it, maybe the word to use is a murky world, and it's just...
No, it's not.
What do you think it is?
It's up to you to
You've
think
just,
what you think. I've told you
I'm not the one who made the statement.
I
It's you
have
made the
nothing.
statement. Was it
I have
demeaning?
nothing to say about it. I've said it's a true description of what I see.
What does the appearance of the president have to do with governance?
Well, you'll have to ask him.
You are the one who described him.
I'm saying it's you to ask him why he's so agitated.
But I'm speaking to you, and you're the one who started this
You are the
conversation.
one to ask him why he's so agitated.
Tumekuuliza kwa sababu wewe ndio ulikuwa mtangulizi wa jambo kama
Are
hilo.
you a lawyer for the president?
This is
Ni
not,
waandishi wa habari.
No. You
Kwa
also
sababu-
cannot. Are you here holding his brief?
Atikiwa msa wa kiswa jo, anauliza swali na kiswa udajwa, hana shughuli jo, na concentrate na Trevor. This was damn, this was sad to see. This is what I don't like about these two-person interviews, cause mtu anaweza tu kuignore one person and there's nothing you can do about it. Kwa tu pale ukikakaaga. Najua haga zinakuwaga mbili. So damn. Hopefully one day sitakuwa haga. Because it just depends. Naweza enda tu pale alafu the person mnauliza maswali ya decide na I don't like this person and they decide to ignore you and there's nothing you can do about it. Nacheki. Ignoring Trevor, of course it's much harder because Trevor is Trevor, anajulikana. But ignoring some of us, it tunaweza kuwa ignored for lunch, dinner and
It's a question that everybody
No,
is asking.
I can
You're
see.
a leader.
Are you holding a
You've
brief
been the
for- are you
second in
holding a
command
brief for
in this
William Ruto?
country. Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, you've been the second in command in this country.
Can you-
and you're now thinking of being the
Have
head
you-
of this country.
have you
Do
condemned
you
him?
think those statements were regretful?
What I would ask you to, have you as a president, whether he has to regret?
I'm
for
speaking
the
to you now,
abuses-
not
for
to the
abuses
president.
that he
We'll
is
speak to the
having.
president at
Hayuko
the right
hapa,
time. It's you we are
tumekuuliza
speaking
kwa
to.
sababu tuko na wewe hapa na wewe ulikuwa mtangulizi wa
I
hayo
don't
maswali.
think this interview you hold brief for President William Ruto.
We're not holding brief for
In
anyone,
my view,
Mheshimiwa. We're asking you
in
to
my
be
view,
accountable
in
for the
my
words
view,
that you
in my
said.
view, I had hoped that you would ask me issues of development to do.
We will get to that. Let's clear out a few things first.
Kuna maswala
I refuse to.
kuna maswala ya
I,
uongozi.
I refuse to have you have.
Kuna
hold
maswala
brief for William
kuna
Ruto.
maswala ya uongozi na uadilifu. Jinsi
I've already
alivyosema
answered
katika
that
chapter
question. I have
6
nothing
ya
to
katiba.
damn. See the way ikakuwa a little bit ugly, man. Like I didn't like the exchange and I know kitu Rigathi Gachagua anataka ni watu wakikaa chini na yeye, we talk about development and talk about the ideas for the future, like what we'd want to see in 2027. But now the problem is yeye mwenyewe akipataga microphone huku nje, he has to inject, he has to say something that's going to get the crowd hyper and happy and energetic and engaged, and shida hiyo ni you have to talk about things that are not in quotes important. But eventually when some of those things are the president ends up reacting to them, then now it means for sisi tukipata opportunity ya kachina we have to ask those questions. Unajua hapo inakuwa inaenda pikiwa like that tricky balance, ile watu wanaletana juu ekonene. Najua mwaka ni mpya lakini injili ni ile ile lemfi. So kama uko US, uko UK, uko Canada ama uko the UAE na unatry kutuma do Kenya, baki umechangamka, ingia lemfi, utabaki umepata the most competitive rates. Lakini apart from that, on your first transaction ya $100 or more utapata $20 sign up reward. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, chap ingia lemfi international payments for everyone ekonene. And pia of course story ya ODM ili come up, na vile story ya ODM ili come up ili nionyesha pia another weakness ile Gachagua huwaga nayo, na ni weakness ya kuangalia everything through a tribal lens, because sometimes people just don't give a na cheki. So so wacha tucheki hapa. I think ilikuwa ni stories za ODM. Utacheki vile ataingiza Trevor kwa stories za ODM mpaka Trevor iko zile za eko nana.
And that is why they want to kick out Sifuna, because Sifuna cannot agree to that scheme.
The statements of the ODM being sold is the one thing you keep referring to, but you can't tell us how much. Why should we
but I've
believe
asked
you on
you.
that conversation?
Have
And
you-
you keep referring
No,
to
doesn't
Sifuna. That
it,
is one
doesn't
person.
it, doesn't it
That is
bother
just a
you,
fallout
Trevor?
with one
No,
person.
you are low. Doesn't it bother you?
Yeah,
That a
I'm-
man is inherited before he is buried.
I'm not the one answering
No,
the
I'm
questions. You're the one answering the questions.
I'm just throwing a question.
You're the one answering
for,
the questions.
for your own
here.
mind.
Why would you say it's been bought?
But
and
why
yet
don't
not
you?
give
Why are you
evidence?
not asking me to?
We're
explain
asking
that
you to
statement?
explain how much was it bought for.
Atiki exchange, exchange, damn, this exchange was ugly. But kuna hiyo part moja anasema, as a Luo, doesn't it bother you that ODM is being sold? I don't think it bothers me. I understand the question. Maybe the question is meant for the Luo audience who are Ramogi TV and Ramogi FM, and there has to be a huge chunk of them who feel some sort of way na ODM kuuzwa. But if you are saying that and you are addressing Trevor at that point, that question is not for him at that point, because as much as he works for this Luo channel, he is there now as a journalist, and anakuuliza maswali na a language that people are going to understand beyond the Luo nation in quotes. So but this also still got super ugly.
And you're not telling
Lots
us
of money.
how much.
A lot of.
What
lots
was the
of money.
deposit?
Lots of money.
Is it because one person leaves, then now a party has been bought?
Lots of money.
And I've asked you the same question. Have you bought Wiper and DAPK, the ones you're working with?
I don't know why you want to bring Wiper and DAPK.
Because it's a coalition. You're the one who's told us you've been in politics for long. So we're trying to understand.
I don't know why you want to play advocate for William Ruto. Aren't you bothered as a law that ODM is getting finished? You should be bothered. That is your vehicle. That is a vehicle that Raila Odinga developed for the community.
Aren't you bothered as a Luo? That like, not really, it's not really. So so this interview, man, I don't know, it was one of those that I'm hoping, I was wishing ingekuwa better, like ingekuwa less confrontational. I feel like it was too confrontational, and I don't know who to blame. I don't know if to blame Trevor, but I've seen Trevor do this before. And the other people were able to handle it better than Gachagua. And I think Gachagua lazima ajue hivyo. Like right now, because we are a little bit far from 2027. 2027 is close, but it's also a little bit far. Right now, it's really hard to convince people to just talk about your manifesto. People want to talk about other stuff also. And that's why this whole spectacle ya kutukanana, kunini, we ni mnono, we ni mkonda, inabambawase. When we get to the last Nini of business, then at that point I want you to give me your ideas. And especially if you've been a deputy president of this current government, even if you are the former, there's that thing of ulikuwa hapo, hauku implement hizo ideas. So ile ya nini ya Kibaki, why have you become so clever instantly or something, suddenly so clever? So kuna hiyo, but tukibonga juu Ruto lazima tubonga juu the 2027 elections. And one of the things ile nashindwa ni the first time when I had this bullshit from Sudi, I understood it. I was like, okay, this dude has said this, he had what is called an intrusive thought, and he decided to verbalize the intrusive thought. But now when he verbalizes the same intrusive thought again, I start to get worried. And this is one of the things why sometimes watu wakiniuliza, what do you think is going to happen in 2027? I normally say, I don't know. Why don't I know?
William Ruto atapita asubuhi. Na huwa mimi naambia watu, hiyo kura tutajaza. Ama namna gani? Hata isipojaa tutafanya nini? Tutajaza. Kwa sababu nyinyi wote simtapiga kura. Kura itajaza.
Tikio, hata isipojaa tutajaza. Same thing. Alisema, was it last year or the year before last? And of course tulikuwa na a certain level of outrage. You are like, no, this shouldn't happen. This guy shouldn't say this openly. And he keeps saying it just openly. Tutajaza. Na isipojaa tutajaza. And I don't know, man. I'm starting to get worried and think tu kile kitu wametuplania itakuwa ngumu sana sisi ku do anything about it. So I don't know. But still tukistick na Ruto, kulikuwa na hii nini alikuwa na give jana, and he was talking about the development that he wants to bring. And there are some of the things that they say where he'll say something good and you're like, okay, this is good, this makes sense. And then when the money part comes in, you're there like, no, you should not say whatever you've said. Wacha tumsikize.
Last week, we did launch the extension of the standard gauge railway that will now find its way to Uganda and to DRC to improve on our logistics. You heard from the panelists here that business is looking for how to move things in a much more cost-effective manner. We know very well that we have invested significantly in the roads infrastructure, but we believe that what we have done is not sufficient. So we are increasing our investment in the roads sector. In the next 7 years, we want to double our paved road infrastructure in Kenya, including highways.
That makes sense. If we are to double all these highways, road infrastructure, like it makes sense. Do I love the fact that it's in the next 7 years? No, I don't love that, but I understand we have to think long term. Tunazajitetea that Kibaki alikuwa na vision 2030. So yes, tunazajitetea na hiyo. But now let's start talking about the roads themselves, which was beautiful to hear about, because these are roads like the railway, but the money part.
Because we want to unlock the market, as we have said, in the East African community of 330 million people. We are extending the highway from Nairobi now into Nakuru, finally into Malaba, and connecting it to Uganda. We will shortly be advertising another highway from Mombasa to Nairobi.
Your highway itasaidia sana. Mombasa to Nairobi, I've always seen the photos, I know the videos that people share where izima trailers, damn, and they always end up on the wrong lane. Inafanyaga watu watoke kwa barabara. If there is that standard gauge ikikuwa extended to Malaba, of course it's going to take a lot of some trailers kutoka kwa highway, which is a good thing. Yanajua, because that means less bullshit. If we have another highway, that also makes our roads semi-safer. So that's good to hear. What about the money?
And another 2,800 kilometers of highway around Kenya. This is an investment that is going to cost us between $10 and $15 billion. And we
10 and $15 billion. That gap is so big that I need you to be more specific. 10 and $15 billion. $10 billion is 1.3 trillion. Alafu $15 billion is 1.95 trillion. So there's a difference of 0.65 trillion. That's not something you just say, that's a difference of 650 billion. That's ile gold I think what tumepata Kakamega. That's a lot of money. You need to be specific. So hii ndio time wagana katika na hizi vitu, because unajua they are being inflated and they are being like, you can't put, I don't know if to call it a margin of error, but you need to be specific. If you are tunatengeneza 2,800 kilometers, this is how much you're going to use. You're going to use if it's 5 trillion, it's 1.5 trillion. But ukiacha wide hivo, and considering like how we are suspicious of everything that this government does, it becomes tricky, because we don't know, like, is it just another scheme ile wanaenda kutuibia, ama is it something that actually makes sense? So kulikuwa na hiyo, but nikimalizia history ya Trevor na nani ulionaje? Oh damn, there was just one video kwa hiyo story ya Trevor ile kila mtu alikuwa anasema that Trevor alikuwa anatumiwa maswali, and I'd want to see, I'd want to know, what do you think about that? So there was this specific one where anauliza swali, and I remember even nani alishare, Gloria Uruoba, she shared that part where I don't know who was recording. I don't know if it's one of the staff members wa Gachagua ndiye alienda pa kishare, but there was that one where unacheki he receives something on his phone and then he ends up akiuliza maswali. So ilikuwa ni kuna msana itwa George T. Diano alikuwa ameandika Trevor Ombija receiving WhatsApp text from sharp boys in State House to kona wa Munyoro, then unabaki umecheki hapo. So kuna hiyo, so I don't know who this was, the person who was zooming in, and why they felt like they needed him to, they felt like they needed to put this out there. So wacha tusikie like what sort of question was being asked. Of course saizi since ina recordiwa from this phone to this phone, sound is not perfect.
Not just trying to make ends meet, and he says you there, he says you there and there, but he does everything, and that is what we want to change. We want to have a government that has institutions that are working. Okay. People who have been appointed, they can go and work.
All right.
And let me also
I'd like to give you a chance for closing remarks because we're out of time.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the proposal in the dam that you talked about. There was no 20 billion that was allocated. In fact, it was 2 billion. It was allocated, but removed in 2020. because it was too little for them.
Meskeo part, there was no 20 billion that was allocated. So what did he Google that for himself? Did he receive it as a message from the sharp boys at State House? That's what I don't know. But one thing that I know is imekuwa easy. This strategy ya kwenda kwa vernacular stations has been Rigathi Gachagua's strategy, which is a good strategy. Najua he's not just been going to like so-called Kikuyu channels, because I remember Uhuru did that, and Uhuru alidiltuna the mountain peke yake when he was dealing with vernacular stations. He never did the whole thing. So for Gachagua to even have done, like the first one that he did was Kalenjin Media, that took some cojones. And remember, that's the same time where he did that whole thing that went viral, ile akibongajia shule za Northeastern and how they were underfunded even after how many years of devolution, where a lot of money has been imekuwa huko for equalization. That was that time. Ya Ujakani didn't go as well. But do I think he needs to stop? No. I think the next one on it could do ya Uluyani and just keeps doing them. But should he expect questions that have nothing to do with development? Yes. Why? Because he's one of the people who made that bed. And since he made that bed, he has to be ready to lay on it. But niambie kile unafikiria. Joy interview was Trevor too harsh, and we mwenyewe pia, if you had to ever sit down with Gachagua, unaweza muuliza swali gani? Weka swali yako hapo chini, because you never know. Economy.